Today we're going to talk about a walking pattern training exercise done with a kettlebell. We're going to talk about a cross-body clean into a step into a press. This is outside of normal kettlebell training. Normally kettlebell training is either hard style or competition style. It focuses on your basic movements, your deadlift analog, swing, clean and press, clean and jerk, snatch. This is taking kettlebells and using it to train walking patterns, which most people in the world need, especially if they have back pain, hip pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain. Let's walk through this exercise first, and then we're going to break it down. This exercise is going to be in a stagger stance, so let's start by picking it up. Start at the kettlebell, step back, pick it up normally. We're going to do a clean. You're going to use a light kettlebell for this. Step forward with one leg. Our feet are pointed straight ahead. There is no turnout on this. It is not ballet. When you walk, your feet should be pointed generally straight ahead. If they are not, this is something you can use to retrain the muscles of your ankle, your knee, and your hip to help that work. This is going to start with an arm straight. Move it outside the body. We are already introducing a spiral into our body, which is what most people are not used to. This is why we want to use a very light weight. If you are not used to this type of spiral hinge pattern, then go very light. We're going to take this swing, we're going to turn it into a step clean. We have now had our first stepping pattern. Let's step again and press. Step back, swing, step, step, back, step, step, back, step, step, back, return to square, and then set it down. This exercise is done with kettlebells, but I originally learned this with mace because it is an adaptation of a sword movement. Same idea. Clubs emphasize throwing patterns, so this is part of a throwing pattern. We're always training throwing patterns because we're humans, we have thumbs, and we are designed to throw things right into that movement pattern. So think about a baseball pitcher throwing. Hand comes across the body. It's slightly different with a club than it is in sport because your structure, your breathing, and your movement have to move in time with the weight, but the same idea. Step forward with one leg, opposite hand. In the beginning, start with a swing to see if you can handle the spiral load between our hip and our shoulder. If you're not used to this, go extraordinarily light. I first learned this with a step with a clean and then a press. Step back, focusing on that swing. Same stepping patterns that we're going to work on. Clean, elbow comes to hip, step, drive with the hip, emphasize the rotation. Bring the weight back, step back, swing, clean, press, back, swing. Kettlebells, you can get heavier weights and they're more common. Clubs are rarer, but the best thing because the length allows you to not compromise your structure. You could even use something like a mace for this, but it gets even fancier, which means it gets lighter. Swing, catch, and then into other types of movements. Swing, catch, and add complexity forever. The human brain and body want complexity forever. Probably in throwing patterns, definitely in walking patterns. If you have ankle pain, knee pain, hip pain, back pain, it probably means something in this pattern is out of whack. So you train it with kettlebells, clubs, maces, kettlebell medium weight, club lighter than that, mace very light. Simple complexity, medium complexity, infinitely high complexity. Most people can get access to kettlebells and they have light kettlebells at the gym so they can start working on this. Whatever you do with one side, you should also do with the other side. Normally people will pick up a weight with their dominant hand, their throwing hand, and they will think that this is easy. And then they will set up for the other side, their non-dominant hand, and they will find out that their body doesn't move the same on both sides. So break it down, do an equal number of reps on each side, and do multiple sets. Usually start with your non-dominant hand first, because when you finish, that means your last set will be with the good side. You'll remember the whole experience better, and you will want to do it again in the future. Let's walk through with our non-dominant side. Pick up your kettlebell in a good square stance. Step forward with one leg. Check that this foot is straight ahead. When it's flexing, the knee should be over the foot. If it's deviating in, we need to go to other exercises before this one. Get your arm straight, point your thumb back. Move it outside your body and work on this swing. Hip down, hip snap. Hip down, hip snap. Hip down, hip snap. And let's work on that clean. Think about bringing that elbow down to the hip. Emphasize the roll of the spine. Step, emphasize the press. Bring it down when you're stepping back, and step back. Step, step, down, down. Step, step, down, down. When you're done, return to square, set it all the way down with good technique. When you get tired, the things that people are gonna do is they're going to stop rotating all the way, and they're gonna hack the rotation and swing the kettlebell directly into their knee. Consider that super bad. Do not do that. In the beginning, separate your heavy lifting from your light throwing pattern lifting. If you're going to lift heavy, keep your feet square, and then use this as either a warm-up or a cool down. You can go up in weight over time. People will survive all kinds of things, only if they do not skip steps in training. This is not a muscle training. This is not chest day. This is not leg day. This is a movement pattern exercise, focusing on helping people recover movement in their ankles, knees, hips, and spine. You are never done with movement training. Dance is movement training. All of martial arts is movement training. Throwing a punch is in this same vein, but we're breaking things down into small pieces so we can check to see if our dominant side works the same as our non-dominant side.